pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Well, public comment period. Anybody here to speak to us today? I guess not. We need a motion for the October 4th, 2022 board meeting agenda.
So move.
Moved by Commander Sheep or Commander.
Commander! I didn't bring my hat. I should have had a hat.
Commissioner Schiefelbein, that's Legion stuff right here. He can attest to 35 years of that.
Alright, I got a big head now.
Oh, gosh,
You're gonna have
this
to
is
bring
gonna
me back
take a
down.
while.
It'll take a year.
You might want to second your own motion.
I do second that motion.
Commander, would you like to second?
Commanders don't have to second motions.
Yeah. Do I hear a second?
Yeah.
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner. He said it again. It's his fault. I'm looking at him. for
That was a
age
short,
on it, so.
that was a short season
Yeah.
for you.
All right,
well,
any
Julie almost took you
discussion?
out.
Madam Chair, we do have one item on the consent agenda that we need to remove. That's the approval of the hire of full-time corrections officer, Glenn Klapke.
Okay, we'll remove
Flop
that.
hockey.
Klapake.
Clop hockey, yes.
Top hockey.
Anything else?
I got as close as I could.
Pretty good.
Anything else?
Pretty good.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. So, do you wanna?
Yes, I will run us through the consent agenda. Sorry. Approval of the September 20th board meeting minutes, approval of social services, county and account, or hospital accounts payable, approval of the appointment of Miranda Goen to the Health Advisory Committee, approval, and that's it. That is our consent agenda. Should also have approval of hire a full-time assistant county attorney on there as well.
Madam Chair, if I may ask a question. Andrew, I noticed the heaters and chimneys went in, that must have been out on, but was that relatively close to budget?
Yes, it was.
Was it? Okay, I couldn't remember.
And I questioned that too. Will those costs be paid through our insurance coverage? Or
No, those were just replacements. So,
the hanging heater and the chimney,
yep, those were replacements.
big chunk? Okay.
Yeah.
I believe, well,
Yep,
I won't speak out of turn of where we paid for it out of, now that I can't think of it off the top of my head, so.
okay.
I just couldn't remember what we had budgeted on that.
Yeah, I'd have to double check, but I looked when the bill came through and it was close. I can't remember exactly
Yeah.
what it was.
And then I noticed we're getting ready for winter, we had about $47,000 worth of salt,
It's that time of year.
Yeah.
so. Alright, that's all I had.
Anything else? Any other
I had
questions,
just-
Julie?
and I didn't get to visit with Andrew yesterday. Hopefully these are just quick little curiosities of mine. J-Tech water testing. What water are we testing?
Is that for public health?
So this right here, mine. Yeah. I don't know.
Without looking at it, I know we just change providers for water testing, but we typically just send the kits and they have to pay themselves, so
Okay, what is it then, Barb?
It's, 111, so that would have been, maintenance, two testing and water analysis samples, so that would have been Joel.
Okay.
And then there was some test closing, loop water, those were highway.
Yeah, I was
J-Tech.
hoping if Joel was here, I was gonna ask him.
So Joel would be the testing that was done there.
Okay. What is a flat carbide insert?
Why would you need to?
Yeah. It was like $11,000
Right.
and to an
Oh, that's
engineering
a-
company, and it just, I thought, what is a flat
So
carbide?
it's out of the 10 fund, which is highway, right?
Highway, yep, it's
So
highway.
that would probably be repair parts for one of the trucks.
A fill question.
I'll remember that. Let me write that
Call
down.
the-
Julie. What was that called again, Julie?
Flat carbide insert.
Flat carbide.
Times
insert.
6 times 4 flat.
Probably one of our blacktop cutters.
I figured it
Yeah, it
was
might be.
some fill, but.
Yep.
And then we're paying now, and have we received our performance films window coverings?
We did the deposit on that. So we're, I just talked with Joel about that yesterday. The plan is to have that done by the end of the year.
Okay. And were we able to secure some funds for that, or is
Yes,
that-
we have grant funding to help pay for that.
Awesome. Okay, and then I got my other question answered. I'm good.
Okay, any other questions? All in favor of passing the consent agenda? Did we have a motion?
No, you
I
don't.
don't know that we,
You don't have.
we don't have a
Corey,
motion.
did we have a motion? She always gives me this look, so I know.
I
what's going-
tried that last.
I do
one
believe you
was
need a
here.
motion.
It didn't work.
Okay, well then, let's get
Commander
to,
Chair, I would.
Commander Chair.
Madam Chair, I would like to make the motion to pass the consent.
Motion by Commissioner Johnson, do I hear a second?
Second.
By Commissioner Schmidt, any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. All right, Greg Schultz, well, wait, where are we here?
Yes, passing to Greg.
Greg Schultz, Land Use Records Director.
Good morning. This morning I have just one item, that's a memorandum of agreement for the Mississippi St. Cloud One Water, One project. You see in April of 21, signed a resolution supporting the planning of the grant application to the Board of Water Soil Resources. And that was in anticipation for this MOA for the Mississippi River St. Cloud District. And here it is, memorandum of agreement. It's between the counties of Benton, Meeker, Stearns, Sherburne, Wright. And through the Benton, Meeker, Mille Lacs, Stearns, Sherburne, Wrights, and Soil and Water Conservation Districts. This memorandum of agreement.
Does our representative recommend us moving this?
I believe so. I don't think our county attorney wants to deal with this anymore.
Just some additional information on this. The Meeker County Soil and Water Conservation District is not going to be joining in on this because of concerns that they have related to their powers and rights. However, it's in the best interest of Meeker County to move forward with this agreement.
Soil and water aren't involved either though? Cause Clearwater.
Oh, sorry, it was,
Clearwater.
Clearwater.
yes, the Clearwater Watershed District. Thanks for that clarification. Clearwater Watershed District is not going to be signing on this.
What is the
But ours
advantage?
is.
But Meeker's Soil and Water is.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I'm agreeing that they're not.
And what is the
They're voting today as
advantage?
well, I believe.
Okay.
What is the advantage to Meeker County?
You wanna be at the table?
Yep, this is the one where we will
And-
have representation.
Exactly, in the policy committee, and Clearwater's, I think they were recommended by their lawyer to not be involved because Bowser was not letting them do projects that they already had in motion
Okay.
if they join this. So they decided to opt out. I think is that fair
Yeah, so the,
assessment of it?
the large issue is that there's a clash between the Clearwater Watershed District and Bowser based upon the concern that the local authority is being taken away from the watershed districts and that it's going to the state level is demanding certain things and it's not necessarily consistent with statute.
So would Bowser pull funds from that watershed district, or was it?
No, I believe if they joined it, they wouldn't have say in terms of these different projects they wanted to do. They would have to go through the whole board, I believe.
They'd have to go through the committees here.
So the Clearwater Watershed District has their own watershed plan. This plan would then supersede that plan, so they wouldn't be able to pursue funding for their own projects. The intent, though, is that in order to be able to tap into funding through this plan, the county participating in it allows us to direct some of those funds to that area in the event there's a project that would benefit. Additionally, as we saw with one of the other watersheds that we ended up signing on too late, there is a point where we do have to have a watershed plan that covers the entire county, and otherwise it impacts funding for other watersheds. So those are the reasons why it would be beneficial for us to participate in this.
Is, not that it makes any difference to this decision, but Clearwater do they plan on opting in later after some, or any idea, or is that
I
even
don't
an
know.
option? or-
Right
I'm
now, they have
fine.
their own,
I'm
they have their
getting
own
fine.
lawyer, and their lawyer actually advised that they feel like Bowser is not following the statutes, and so they opt out,
That's shocking.
yeah. And, so you still
But-
wanna be part of the table.
But to Commissioner Schmidt's point, I don't know, when we make these, I'm on the one watershed plan for the south.
Yep.
if they go around it, they're not gonna wanna go back and rework a plan to allow somebody back in 2-3 years down the road.
Yeah, I don't know
I-
if they
I-
do that or
I
not.
was- I'm getting in the weeds a little bit.
They carry the largest percentage of interest in this plan, and so all the counties essentially have, the ability to flow funding to them because they go through the counties. It's our little district area. So they could opt in later.
Okay.
In a lot of these watershed plans do a joint, what is a joint?
Powers.
And this one got a little muddled and they wanted to do the memorandum of agreement, and that's why, you know, Brandy had to get involved with some other county attorneys, and then they had to hash it out to the memorandum of agreement instead of a joint powers, which, like, my North Fork one is joint powers. You know, and that's typically what they do, but someone was unhappy or something, or stuff got involved. That's why I said likelihood she's ready to get this one off the table.
And I did confirm with Clearwater Watershed District that Meeker County opting in wouldn't interfere with their rights and what they are looking to accomplish through this process. And they said no, it would not affect it.
Who then will represent Meeker County at the table? Danny?
Commander Schiefelbein.
Really kinda like the sound of
I knew
that.
you would like that.
I'm gonna try that at
Get used
home
to-
once.
Yeah, let me know how it works out.
Good luck with that.
military.
Yeah, exactly. I'll have to consult with General Schiefelbein at home.
Any other questions? If not, I would look for a motion.
Madam Chair, I move to approve a memorandum of agreement to develop a joint comprehensive watershed management plan for the Mississippi River St. Cloud watershed.
Motion by Commissioner Schiefelbein. Do I hear a second?
I'll second, Madam
Second
Chair.
by Commissioner Schmidt. Any other questions or discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Greg.
Good.
Paul Bokovich.
Good morning. I am Paul from Social Services.
Hi, Paul.
Feels like a
Hi, Paul.
I was gonna say that.
I can recover, I think.
That's right, I was like.
Well, good morning. I have an exciting request for you because we've had an internship program for, I think, about 4 years now. And we've had some great success in supporting some of our employees when they were going through their master's program, and we were able to allow them to be interns. In fact, our internship was developed and coordinated, and all of our documentation and the legal aspects was put together by one of our master's interns at the time. It provides us great benefit to have students come into our organization. They bring a fresh new look with all the academic vigor that they're all excited about to share, but it also helps us in serving our clients as well. And I believe it also gives back to our community. We've been on hold for a couple of years. Both the schools and us have suffered a pandemic, and so now we're just kind of getting back into having interns come back into our office. A lot of the schools put their programs on hold as well for the safety and concern of their students. So as we look toward the new policy of having a paid internship, coming to you folks for permission to be able to post for 2 internship positions. Reason why we're looking at 2 internship positions, we usually minimize that to 1. But we're going to be having a number of leaves coming out. Building a new football team over there. So, and so that is my request for you today.
So Paul, how much interaction with an intern do you have with the school where they're going with? I mean, is it a constant evaluation?
It's with, you know, it depends on the learning plan that is developed. And so we work with the student as well as the school in developing that learning plan. That first month or month and a half is really about what are we going to do, how is this going to work, and we do some of that work before we even accept an intern. And then there's ongoing supervision that we provide. We actually assign a social worker or a couple of different social workers to kind of be that direct contact for that intern. We have a clinical support specialist who is now our supervisor for our child protection, right, Kirsten Langerman, who is a master's level licensed social worker. So she also has more connection, providing that clinical oversight for that individual. And there's direct conversation back to the school. Fortunately, we've never had a student that didn't fully embrace all of our policies and procedures and really give it their best. But if there were a situation, we would exit our internship relationship as part of that learning plan. And so we would have direct contact with the school about that on a frequent enough basis so that it wouldn't get too far down the road.
Are there particular colleges that you associate with or request from?
Well, we've looked at Mankato. We've had internships from Mankato. We've had internships from St. Cloud State. We had an internship from Gustavus Adolphus. We've had an internship from Augsburg. So we put it out
Okay, I
to
wondered how you
all the
advertise.
master's level social work programs
Okay.
out there. We're really targeting that master's level for this because they can put in enough time for their requirements so that they maximize the value of what we have to offer. But it also helps offset our costs because they're credentialed to be able to provide case management because of already having their undergrad degree, they meet that statutory requirement. And then through the tail end of their internship, they're actually going to be serving a few cases. And that helps offset the costs. And so when you look at the financial aspects of this, it looks like we're making bank. Well, yeah, it still costs us an administrative part of this, but they're actually able to generate enough revenue to offset the actual pay component of the internship. One of the things I really like about the paid internship policy is I always kind of felt weird that we were kind of generating revenue off of an intern's work. And you know, we look at that historical view where it's like, wow, we have interns, well, let's put them through the grinder. Well, that's not our intent any longer. I mean, we kind of moved beyond that, and we're really trying to create solid, valuable social workers for wherever they may be. And also, they're going to be working in the industry. And we certainly want Meeker County to have a positive flavor in their mouth when they speak of us to their colleagues, their coworkers, other programs that we may have contact with. And I think that just helps us as a county and as an agency in our ongoing recruitment efforts. I can tell you that we've actually hired interns. We have interns that are watching our roles for open positions, even though they may be employed elsewhere. So there is value to it. And I think it really has been a significant component of our ability to fill our open positions.
So the financing comes from a couple of different resources here. I was wondering if it was, you pay them an hourly wage, or is it a tuition reimbursement, or?
Per the policy, it would be an hourly wage at a step one social work grade one. Social work classification, step one.
And that comes out of your budget, or?
It does, yes.
Okay.
Yep, and we do have money within our budget to meet this need.
Any other questions for Paul? Not, I would look for a motion.
Madam Chair,
Oh,
Madam Chair, I'll move to approve the request to recruit 2 paid master's degree candidate internships for social services.
Motion by Commissioner Schmidt, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Bredesen, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries, thank you, Paul.
Thank you. Have a great day, folks.
Two.
All right, moving along. Wow, Moving along.
Jeez, Pat, you're about to set a record.
Andrew, Andrew Letson.
I will help that record along.
You
I just
will.
have a
You
couple
don't
of
have a
items for you
report?
today. First and foremost, tomorrow through Friday, I'm gonna be out of the office at a conference, county administrator conference. And I'll be back in the office on Monday. I'm still available by cell phone if you need me or via email. On Monday this week, or Friday last week, we sent out a survey of the logo options that you took a look at our work session last week with some of the tweaks that we had discussed. So far, we've gotten 76 responses from
Wow.
staff on that.
There's interest.
There is some interest for sure. There's varied interest, so I'll spare you from the preliminary results and just get you the final results when they're done. We're requesting those responses be back by Friday. And lastly, on Friday last week, we also received our rates for PEEP, the Public Employee Insurance Program, which is the program that our law enforcement staff, the union law enforcement staff, are a part of, and our increase there is going to be 18.6%.
Is that gonna make it easier, you think, to move it elsewhere or not?
We will see.
So committal on these questions.
We have PEEP and PAC, there's one up 7.
7. Yeah.
What was that?
We have PEEP for the PAC employees, that went up 7%.
So yeah, I mean,
I'm on a board that went up 60.
But that, it's all about those claims.
That's.
Yep.
And they're a small group and.
So we'll be certainly talking with them about that during negotiations, and we'll be communicating with staff about what those rate changes are gonna be. And that concludes my report.
What committee is that?
I don't know what I'm supposed to say
Yeah,
anymore to
yeah,
meetings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Buttoning up.
yeah.
We're having a special personnel meeting this week to try to figure out what to do, so. What is the deadline for reaching out for, would it be hard right now to get, like, cross or, like, I'm not talking about here, but.
I think it would be potentially a challenge. So I know with our renewal from PEEP, they included, because our contract is up this year, they included what we would have to do in order to be able to get out of it. At the same time, we're 2 weeks away from open enrollment.
That's what I'm saying, it would
That's
be
where it
very
becomes a
difficult,
challenge.
that's why we're having a quick meeting with Supporting Hands, because we don't know where to go with this. At least you're gonna have to raise what you're paying.
Yeah.
Yep.
Was the PEEP across the board 18, or was it?
That's the average increase. So I think it was pretty much across the board. I would have to run the numbers again to see exactly.
They're blaming it on people breaking off and going elsewhere, and they're finding a lot of reasons, but I go back 2 years ago when nobody could get in PEEP. Just, I think, in my mind, healthy people. Then they started taking older people and, right, CCT was on it, then CCT was on PEEP. I don't know if they still are, but that's
I
gonna
don't
be,
know.
gonna be an interesting
We got a meeting next
discussion.
week, that'll be
I
interesting
know.
to find out.
Yep. All right, anything else, Andrew?
Nope, that is all I have.
So Steve, do you wanna start the, or not? You look shocked there.
I just thought I was gonna be at the end.
Do you wanna be at the end? Cause I could go the other end just for you.
Now,
earlier
let's
today.
wrap this up. Had a meeting with Todd Patzer, President of AMC. We talked about a few items, little bit about Woodland Centers, and, they had 3 topics really. One was the Woodland Centers and the discussion of buying the Jehovah Witness building versus continuing with the lease. That was just kinda touched on. The other one, they're starting a public safety, another committee in public safety, and I talked to Brandy a little bit. There was a death, and I think it was Bill Trammy that was, in the jail, and so DOC is putting a study together. And so AMC is answering that by putting this committee, and it isn't just AMC, there's 2 commissioners on there, I'll be one of them. And we're gonna have 6 meetings, 2 in October, 2 in November, 2 in December, to curtail anything that DOC comes up with, so they don't put too many rules and regulations on these small county jails over and above what we already have, so that's, stay tuned. I don't know what that's gonna look like, on that. The other in Grove City Care, everything's going good there. This Sunday, the 9th, is Grove City Care's annual Oktoberfest in the afternoon. So if you're not doing anything, they have, I think it's pulled pork and turkey sandwiches.
4:30 to 6, right?
What's that?
4:30 to 6.
Sounds great.
No, I saw the
Four to
sign
six,
yesterday.
or I was
4 to
gonna say
6 or
4 to
something like
6,
that.
in that 4 to 7 range, and but it is a good time. They get about 250 people usually, I think, at that, so good turnout. They're not in County Ditch 15. We had that meeting in Dassel along with our work session. Emergency Services Board. Nothing real earth shattering there. And then we also had class and comp with David Drown last week, and just kind of went over the positions, and there'll be more to come on that. That we had, what's the word, the 30 positions or so that we had in reclassifying coming into negotiations. And other than that, that's all I had for the end of the month.
Mr. Schiefelbein?
All right.
Commander?
Commander, thank you.
Maybe you should go last.
Maybe not.
Well,
I'm trying to avoid that at all costs.
yeah.
Kidding. You can
All
do
right.
whatever you want.
Yeah, so we had Julie and I had extension last week, so, and we're gonna start looking for a new, basically a crop person. We have an interim right now, and so that'll be coming up, interviewing some. I'm sure they'll be from University of Minnesota. Did the county ditch meeting, work session. Steve and I had class and comp, reviewing those, the pay study. And like you said, more to come to that. I think we tweaked some stuff there. And then Beth and I had a meeting with the CEO of Woodland Centers with Andrew, talking about bylaws and what we can and can't say, evidently, right?
Article, well, that was
Articles.
policy, we're not talking about that. I
Yeah.
think the meeting was about the articles,
Yes,
the
which
changes that are gonna be
which
coming
is
forward.
an email that I sent to all of you, so you have that.
Yep.
So if anybody has any questions about that, Andrew can probably answer them.
And I think that was it.
Okay, thank you. Paul?
Well, we start out with CPT, and Beth, I know this is a little bit of
Then
an
don't say it, cause I know exactly
I know
what
it's a bit of an irritation, but I gotta say, in the 22 months that I've been a commissioner, I am so comfortable
they
with
took
where
for supporting news
CPT,
director.
their direction, their new leadership, it's just, it's moving where it should have been moving a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, but it's really, he's fantastic. He is taking a hold the way we would like him to. We still have a lot of money.
You still have a lot of money?
About 1.3 million, so.
Are you gonna be distributing that to the member counties at some point?
Well,
in
they're
time?
talking about it, so we'll see what happens at the annual meeting
Oh.
in January.
Just, I have a question. You mentioned 22 months as a commissioner. You're getting ahead of yourself a little bit.
Well, that's true. All right. Completed 21, okay? But I've attended 21 meetings of CPT, so, but it is.
Guys are naughty.
I had to.
Got me by a month. I'm so particular
It's a
about here.
tough crowd.
Minute you say commander, boy.
We are gonna, it looks like we're gonna put together a purchase agreement to purchase the building in Morris, which makes sense. If you look at the cost of our lease per month, it's a return on investment in about 10 years, so it's just a smart. Besides that, we have bathrooms on one side of the building, and it wouldn't be the part that we're leasing. So if they leased it to somebody else, we might have to do a bathroom remodel. So
Wow.
could get to be interesting.
Porta potty.
Yeah. Had a PAC meeting yesterday. As I said, their PEEP insurance only went up 8%, so, that was they were expecting double that, so that helped the budget. We still have about $151,000 shortfall. So we're working on the budget for 23, trying to squeeze down every place we can. So we came up with some good ideas, had a good discussion yesterday. Both Diane and Paul Bukovich were there. You know, it's gonna be some tough choices, just like anything else. Just like our person who does the finances there, Jolene said, you know, hey, if you wanna go to the movie but you don't have the money, you know, go to the movie. We're gonna have to cut something someplace to make it work. So we're gonna have to do some reductions, and they're gonna be tough decisions. So, but it's gotta happen. Other than that, I have a question for Commissioner Schmidt, MRC. Are you gonna be recommending we continue?
No. Short answer. But I think it, and I think I mentioned that already, that Dan Larson, the executive director, is moving on to different things, so believe they're in the process of a search and rescue mission to find a new lead there. I haven't heard anything, as of yet. But I'm struggled, as I mentioned last year already, just to find the real benefit for us right now. I mean, most of what they do, I feel we can accomplish or do accomplish through AMC. And, that we should probably look to, and I think AMC will look, depending on what happens in the future with MRC, I think AMC will look to expand their role in that rural and ag community. So that would be my recommendation.
And as well, you know, Prime West was not successful in their litigation. We'll find out more on Thursday, but it appears we'll probably appeal. But we did get this from Jim on Friday. I'm pleased to inform you that DHS has selected Prime West Health as the default health plan for all 24 Prime West owner counties for medical assistance and Minnesota Care. It's not as good as a single plan, but this is still good news. Will be the default. So that was a good sign. So we'll see what we get for information on Thursday. It could be an interesting meeting, I think. So, but Jim did seem very positive over this. So
I agree.
Ready?
No, I'm ready to do it.
Okay. Well, on Wednesday, the 21st, we had our local public health meeting, and that was over at the Social Services Building. We got to meet our new doctor, Dr. Whitney Rentz. She is new doctor representative on our local public health board, and she will also take over as chair. So it was nice to be able to meet her. She's replacing Dr. Searle, who retired and left our committee. We just approved an application for a new board member. We did that today. Miranda will be serving on the local public health. I learned during our meeting that the avian flu, which is still a nasty situation here in Meeker County, it can be passed on to humans, and I did not realize that. So that was a little concerning for the folks who work within that environment. There's a survey coming to our homes in November. Diane asked that when we receive these little surveys, please complete them. The data collected will benefit Meeker County Public Health resources and decisions. So I guess sometime in November we'll receive a survey. COVID shots are still available, but you have to get them at either Family Fair, the clinic, or Walmart, and our local public health people are encouraging everyone to get a flu shot. They're anticipating a kind of a nasty little flu season here. So get your flu shot. Then on Tuesday, the 27th, we had our work session here, and I recall everyone agreed that the logo with the fish would remain our top choice.
I think
you must have wrote
I'm
that
gonna
down
have to
wrong.
object to
Where's
that.
Cory, wasn't she taking notes on? I
Yeah,
thought
she
that
was, but
Good memory
times
is
you
just
just
short.
gotta
I
lose.
made-
Some's gotta win, some's gotta lose, my dear.
Maybe I could be mistaken on that,
It's a
but
song.
anyway. Then at 1:30 in the afternoon on the 27th, Danny and I had the extension meeting at the fairgrounds, and yes, and we're going to be hiring another crop naturalist person, and Danny, you volunteered for that hiring committee, right?
Yeah, something like that.
something like that. I'm sure
I think
you
it worked
volunteered.
exactly like that.
There were,
Doing short straws.
Yeah. Crap.
I was quick to volunteer you for that.
Yeah, I'd really appreciate that.
There are 300.
Send that favor back sometime.
Yeah, okay, thanks for the warning. There were 343 kids in our current 4-H program. We have 8 clubs, so we have a good 4-H program here in Meeker County. We had reports on the county fair and the state fair. They felt it was very successful. Our extension committee needs a couple new representatives. We're a couple short on the representation, so please, if you have any names, let Danny or myself know who would be a good candidate for this opportunity. Both District 2 and 4 are in need. And we could use a school representative, someone from a school background we'd like to have on the committee. Right now, October 2nd through the 8th is National 4-H Week. There are some displays uptown, there are advertisements going on, and some activities. So it's National 4-H Week. And just yesterday, I received my letter of request for 4-H donations. They asked for dollars for scholarships and program enhancement. So be generous when you receive your letter, please. And then the night of the 27th, we all had our 5 o'clock Dassel Ditch number 15 meeting. I think there were about 35 or 40 people in attendance. And that went well. And here we are today. I think that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you.
Just a quick question, Julie, you said the fair, they felt that the fair went well, did the numbers back that, were they happy? I mean,
They
do
did,
have
they did
any-
well on the events that the Legion works at, very, very well.
They were
Record.
scrambling to get someone to manage the food booth, the 4-H food stand. And they were able to find someone at the last minute, and I guess that went well, and they had the barns full, various projects, livestock. The weather behaved, it was a little warm, but it went, they felt it went. And then our representation of our kids at the state fair, they were really tickled about that. Lots of blue ribbon winners at the state fair level, so. Yeah,
Good.
yeah. That was your interpretation too, Danny?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good.
I had one committee update too that I forgot.
Go ahead.
Woodland Centers, we had a meeting, and the one thing pertinent to Meeker County is they're discussing whether to buy the, Steve mentioned that Todd Passer said the Jehovah's Witness by Towmaster versus renting from us. So I think Andrew's got something in the works to figure out what we're gonna do as a board in terms of figuring out numbers to give them, cause I was like, my response was like, you should give us an opportunity to discuss what a rent number would be, because they haven't changed it in 20 years. The rent that Meeker has asked for, and we haven't had a contract for I think 17. So
there, so
Isn't it?
that,
We have an agreement. We have a lease agreement. It's
it's
just
just
an older lease
an
agreement.
older agreement.
okay, I didn't know if it's that's what it was or not. Okay, it's just ongoing. So what was on the agenda is them either purchasing this building and going that route and remodeling it, or continuing leasing from us.
How many square feet is that?
5,700 actual square feet, right?
The current space?
Yeah.
Yes. Are you talking about the Jehovah's Witness site?
And, yeah, I was
Oh.
gonna ask for both.
The Jehovah's Witness one was 3,600, and the current one, including space that they don't use, or, as part of that Woodland Centers area, is 5,700. And they have it down, I think, at 4,700 of office space that they're using, but there's another 1,000 square feet of,
So they'd still be short 1,000 square feet out at Jehovah's Witness building.
yeah,
So when we had our meeting,
shorter.
when we had our meeting with the CEO last week, we talked a little bit about this, and we wanted to have a conversation about if they needed the space that they're currently in remodeled you know, what would that look like? What would the scope of that be? We can come up with a cost for that, roll that into a lease. So I'm having a meeting with their staff to talk about what it is that they would potentially be looking for in that. Cause some of the space they have there is not particularly functional for them right now. So that's gonna be the first step, is finding out what sort of improvements would they wanna see in the space. We could potentially do that as we're doing work in the building in the next couple of years, and then we would roll that into a new rent.
I apologize if I dumped that on the table before you.
No, I was like, I
So-
forgot Woodlands, it's like, I can't lose that opportunity.
And I wasn't at the meeting, however, I think there was a communication gap along the way about somebody thought that the rent was gonna be raised astronomically over there without a decision being made. So that's why they've been looking, which I understood. So I think there was some communication, that could have been different. Do you agree, Andrew? I mean, there was so now I think it's all back in place, and we had a nice discussion with Ashley about it, and we'll see what communication, you two are having communication about it, so. It's just that we need to know what's going on before we continue with our remodel.
And just to follow up to what Julie said, you can get a flu shot right here on the 17th of October for our,
Employees.
yep. So,
So I understand flu is supposed to be kind of rampant this year.
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
Could be cover, I'm not sure. So I didn't have a lot because I was gone, so, I'm waiting for him to say something. So we had our shelter,
No comment.
we had Julie's shelter meeting, Julie, and so we talk a lot. Meeker does one fundraiser a year, well, actually two over a weekend, so October 22nd, we're having Pins for Paws, it's $35 a piece, go out to the bowling alley, both 3 games, it's a good fundraiser and it's fun. So if anybody's interested, they can sign up with Corey. And then the next Sunday, the 23rd, we're having our French toast breakfast at the Legion, and, everybody come, it's gonna be a free will donation, we're gonna try that this year and see how that goes, so I'm sure you'll get a reminder. They had a Jordan's Way, fundraiser, and I think they raised about $14,000, so that was a good deal. Then I had a personnel meeting for Supporting Hands, because as you know, Joel went to CPT. They've been looking for a replacement, and they made an offer to one gal, and she was not able to fulfill that offer, so they went to the second person or the next person that they talked about. They were both wonderful, I guess. I talked to Diane today, and she's accepted. So, and then we went over some things about, we've had a couple nurses that have resigned. One's moving out of state, so we have to try to fill those. And then we talked about what we're gonna offer for COLAs, et cetera, in the coming, for next year. And I told you 60%, I misquoted, their PEEP went up 50%. So we're having a special meeting sometime in the next few days, because I do think it's too late to get quotes, even though and we have a temporary director, right, so we're kind of, the gal from Renville's done a really good job, but, so, we're gonna see if we have to raise what we pay of their coverage or whatever, cause we're just kind of in a bad spot right now, so. And I think I had nothing, and then I was in the meeting with, Commissioner Schiefelbein and Andrew with Ashley, and that was mostly about the articles that they're sending out that we have to change. I think what's happening now is, Woodland is a not a joint powers board. It is, what am I trying to say here?
Nonprofit.
Nonprofit board, so there's some differences, nonprofit directors board, is that what it is? I think, am I saying that right? So there's some difference in how those things are handled, so that's why the discussion came up, because I think the articles haven't been gone over for I don't know how many years, and then they're gonna be doing some policy changes, which I think are gonna be more important. So, we'll continue the discussion. That's what I have. Anybody else?
Just like to remind everybody on Thursday night, if you work here in town and you wanna grab supper on the way out, Lamp is having a chili fundraiser. You get it right over here at the fire department. They don't serve a cup of chili either. They give you a real bowl. So
This
it's
is
a,
Thursday now.
yeah,
With
And for
cornbread, I
lunch.
think, huh?
cornbread, water.
For lunch too.
Yeah, and they'll
I
even
did
deliver.
it last
Yep.
year, I think it was at the church, it was good. I got through and got some.
Endless bowl or just?
No,
I'm sorry,
you
what?
take it home,
Endless, bottomless
they
bowl.
bring it out to you. You can order more than one.
But I suppose if you sat in your truck right there, they'd probably come back and forth for
I got,
$7 each time.
I have one quick question, and I don't want a big discussion about it, but in going through the bills, I noticed. So who decides who go, we have a lot of in there for Craig Ends or wherever people are going to meetings. How is that decided? Is there a budget put in by each department?
Yeah, each department has a training budget, and then our travel policy outlines
Right,
how
the
that process
mileage and-
works.
and we don't have
It's not just
rules
the
about
mileage
to-
piece, it's what sorts of conferences and things that people could travel to. So it's a fairly detailed policy. And then additionally, ultimately it comes down to department heads determining
They
what sort of
determine
professional
what goes.
development do they need for this.
So there's nothing in there about everybody driving separate or everybody can do that and collect or one person per room? I would just, maybe I just need to take a look at the
I think we
policy.
need to take a look at the policy. I don't know.
Because in this
detail.
age of Zoom, when I look at some of that, I wonder, we spent a lot of money on it. And I'm not against training, it's certainly not
Yeah.
that, I think it's fine, but I just, when I looked at it, I just wondered about what
Yeah,
it
I can
cost
say
us.
that of the groups that I'm a part of that drive to have that virtual option for these conferences is going away. There's that desire to have people in person, there's that feeling that people are engaging better and learning better, and there's that opportunity to network with
And
colleagues. that
I believe, I see that Prime West still offers Zoom, the AMC conference, I'm on Health and Human Services, I couldn't get there for 3 days, but they sent a Zoom link for the two important meetings that I thought, because for me, some of it, there's a lot of wasted time, And I'm not questioning it, I would just think that's
I
a
know.
policy perhaps we should look at now.
Emergency Services Board, we haven't had an in-person meeting since March of 2020. And that's legislative conferences are virtual there, and the executive board and the regular.
And
joint.
some of the boards that I'm
So
on are now,
everything there, and also CMJTS
Right.
is, I think they have the option there, but.
and some of the boards that I'm on are adding that you're gonna be able to vote remotely because they like the fact that, right?
Yeah,
So, and this is different, I just would like to take a look at the policy, I think we should always keep up on our
Yeah.
policies as things change.
yeah, and I do think the big difference there is it's one thing for a couple hour long
Yep,
meeting.
I agree.
And it's compared to a full day or 2 day or 3 day event.
But it's not unreasonable to look at the policy and see what we're spending.
No, I agree.
On those kind of
agree.
things, that's all, I'm not, I'm all for training, it's not that, so,
But it's not just training. I mean, Andrew and I drive to Morris
I know.
up to 12 times a year. We're gonna change that next year. I think we're gonna go to quarterly meetings. But I mean, it doesn't sound like much, but if all
But
the
see,
counties are there,
But
Yeah, only-
why can't you just do a remote meeting then? Why would you wanna drive from here all the way to Morris? And I kinda feel that way about Prime West at times, it's a whole day in Alec, which is fine, it's an important part. The board is getting huge, right? And if we have keep adding counties, and you spend a lot of windshield time, and so it's just something I think, and I do think that more things like you said are gonna move that way, and me personally, I like to go in person too, but I
Some of
also
these,
appreciate the time I save.
some of the joint powers, but like, Emergency Services Board is 18 counties, central Minnesota, that goes all the way to the Dakota border, just about. I mean, and it's in St. Cloud.
Right, so,
So I mean, some of them people are on the road for 3 hours in the winter if they're driving to it.
That's
So,
another
I mean,
thing.
We haven't,
County Attorney Schiefelbein, is the rules changed so that we can vote remotely? I know there was some issue about that. You could do it 3 times a year or something like that. Has that,
Through the open meeting law statutes?
yeah,
The rules, yeah, there's an additional, inclusion for being able to vote, online or virtually. However, I don't know if you have to still meet certain conditions in order for that to apply. I know that some bylaws are being changed to address
Okay.
that.
But that's,
Are being
that's this
changed.
board, right?
Okay.
Or is that
No,
every
that
board?
includes all the joint power boards as
Right,
well, because
GPs.
they're,
Well, Prime
they're
West is
applicable.
offering that link. Well, of course, if I'm not there, Paul votes. I don't vote when I'm
so, so in order to participate remotely, you have to dig deeper into it, but one of the, you can participate up to 3 times a year remotely without giving out a location of where, and opening that location to the public, under certain conditions. One of them is health related. Otherwise, to participate remotely, you would have to be
Right.
in a public space and allow the public to be able
So
to
you
come
could
and
set up
view-
here.
You could sit here and do
Yeah.
that, absolutely. That location would have to be noticed as part of the meeting. And then lastly, I believe there's still some requirements that a certain portion of the board be physically present in the location of the meeting. I would have to dig deeper and to see exactly what that is, but there are some requirements there, I believe, as well.
I think they gotta get the voting part down. That's the most
That's the
important.
part.
Because they'll say, all in favor say aye, same sign, and the people are still coming through with their eyes after they've gone to the.
And a lot of times like
So-
at Prime West, if I stay behind and do Zoom, Paul goes and then he votes. So
Yeah.
he's there, so it's fine.
And one of the challenges, certainly like with CPT, is it all depends on the location's ability to host a virtual meeting. So.
Oh
you
my
know, Prime-
goodness, CPT should have the best ability of all, should
So
they?
Prime West, I mean, I've participated in the Prime Health meetings remotely, which is in the same room as the Prime, and that works phenomenally.
They have a good system.
Where they do the CPT meetings, it's an echo chamber that you can't hear when you're virtual. It's really difficult.
So I just think it's policies we could, and I would just like to know what the policy is.
Absolutely, I'd be happy to send out. the
In this age when we talk about tightening budgets and things, I think we have to just stay on top of things. Anything else? I would entertain a motion to be, wow.
We've gotta write this down.
Write it down, Julie, track
Make
it.
a motion to adjourn the shortest meeting in my 4-year
There
career.
you go. Motion
4
by-
years yet?
Michael.
Karma.
How many more?
I had that coming. I had that coming.
You did have that coming.
Second by Commissioner Bredesen.
Okay.